to Reaching Out with Eddie. Hey Q,
Hey, how y'all
what's
doing?
up? Doing all right?
Yep.
I guess you're really happy, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I am.
We'll talk about that in a few. But first of all, I want to just say to the people, we kind of been kind of little somewhat inconsistent in our podcast, doing special podcasts. What we decided to do, Q and I, we decided to do a course. Now I'm gonna tell you, two Belt had to point it out, but he was right. We got to come on at the same time, and we got to be consistent because we want you guys to tell somebody about us. And it's not good if you go on the air expecting us to be there and we're not there. So from now on, Q, and if it's not on the website, put it up that we're gonna come on every Thursday at 6 p.m. We
Okay.
can come on even if we don't stay the full hour. Of course, we will from 6 to 7 every Thursday. Henceforth, this is what we're gonna do. I had the pleasure to go to Wayne County. I can tell you that I went to Wayne County, Mississippi Supervisors meeting. I was invited to go there. Um, Pam Chapman asked me to go down and speak with Ray Mill. I think Everett is his last name. Anyway, I went there, and I got to tell you about Wayne County Supervisor. Wayne County Board of Supervisors very professional, and they was I never seen board meeting move so fast. We was in there and out of there like they started at 9 o'clock. One thing, they started on time. They started on time, bringing people in, and almost every individual that went up there stated what it is that they wanted and was gone and was out of there. And so I want to commend Wayne County Board of Supervisors on how they run their meetings. Their Board of Supervisors meeting did a very good job. Of course, and that was on Valentine's Day. So that's the second Tuesday in February that went there. And of course, one of the reasons we went there was to discuss Ben Ivy. Ben Ivy is a police officer recently hired, and I'm thinking with Wayne County Sheriff Department. And one of the things that alarm a lot of the citizens in the state of Mississippi, but not in Lauderdale County, in Clark County, and in Wayne County, is Ben Ivy has a track record. He has a track record of being abusive, disrespecting people. He's actually a criminal and should be in jail. But the reason why he's not in jail is because each time that he did something that violated someone's rights, the first time I met Ben Ivy, or heard tell of Ben Ivy, he worked with the Meridian Police Department, and he took Latoya Brown, juvenile son at the time, and called him Ray Ray. At 15 years of age, he beat that young man. He beat him. And what's bad about it, folks, Ray Ray was in jail. Ray Ray was on a child, 15 years old, folks. He didn't have his handcuffs in front of him. He had his handcuffs behind him. And Ben, I saw that. Not only did I see John Harris, he was the president or the vice president of the NAACP at that particular time. Currently, he's the chief of police, I think, at East Central Community College in Decatur, Mississippi. But he saw it. So did Randall Jennings. Randall Jennings. Was either the vice president or the president. And the late Marie Franklin saw that, along myself and Toya Brown. I think her name is Latoya Brown. Saw that it was had been heart wrenching for her to watch her child get beat, and Justin Cobbs, the late Justin Cobbs, the late Judge Cobbs, was the counter prosecutor. I think he prosecuted the case, and I forgot what judge said over. But anyway, Ben Ivy was allowed to resign from his job, and the next thing you know, he's in Clark County. Well, naturally, he beat Tillman, a young man by the name of Tillman, beat him so bad. Him and the person is running for sheriff now, if I'm not mistaken, in either Clark County or Wayne County. Chancellor is his last name. They beat this black guy named Tillman, beat him so bad he ended up in Jackson in the hospital. And again, not only that, Ben Ivy, a white lady, I don't know her name, and I'm not going to call her name because I could get her name. A white lady husband was arrested, if I'm getting the facts correct. And Ben Ivy at this particular time used his badge. If you want me to help him, you got to basically have sex. And so she ended up having sex with Ben Ivy in order so her husband wouldn't go to jail. He used his badge. That's abuse of authority under color of law. And any sheriff, and then you got Todd Kemp, who's the sheriff of Clark County. That was under his watch. He didn't fire the man when he had sex with the white lady. He didn't fire the man when he beat this black young man. And the citizens of Clark County had to pay money not one time, not two times, but three times in the amount exceeding hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably altogether about $130,000, $140,000, which in my opinion was enough. But again, he was allowed not to be arrested because this is clearly when you have sex with somebody and you use your authority under color law, you're not shielded. You're not, they have what you call qualified immunity. You're not immune from prosecution when you breach that duty. And Ben Ivy done that. And currently, Ben Ivy has a job with Wayne County. He's already, I'm told, already going through the neighborhood terrorizing. And I was told by a young man how Ben Ivy will come into the hood and terrorize them. Ben Ivy should be in jail and not be on anyone's police force. And folks, I have to say this, and I wanted to say this, and that's the reason why I went to both meetings. Um, they tried to get this settlement from Clark County. And Bill Hammer, who's the county attorney, sent Pamela Chapman, she's over this group of activists, sent it either to her or to her group, a letter stating that they were not able to give that. And so my purpose was going before the board was to point out the law to them. No, I am not a lawyer, but I know how to read and I understand the law. And I use Welch versus Mumford and showed that how the judge unsealed a case that had been illegally sealed by the circuit clerk in Hinds County to protect the Hinds County prosecutor, Gerald Mumford. But not only that, I even read the law where the Supreme Court had already ruled on this. No elected official, no county official is protected. The only time you can seal a case or keep it from the public if it's a threat to national security, you're dealing with child, or maybe some domestic violence and some divorce proceeding, name change, and things of that nature. But because you are elected official, that does not protect you if you do something wrong. But they were trying to keep it because they again, Bill Hammock, I think his name is the. But anyway, the supervisor in Clark County released that information, which is the good thing. But it's sad that you will have someone that would try to keep you from knowing these type of things. And so people, we got to know the law. And I'm an advocate of the law. Yes, it has bit me in my behind, but I still stand behind that law. I stand by that law. I believe in that law. That law worked for me and that law worked for Lolo. They did not want it to work for us. When I said they, I'm not talking about everybody. Dustin Markham was the one that freed Lolo, but it was Cassie Coleman who told them to close the case. I didn't even have a case number. Never to be opened up again. A white woman, a white Republican, whom I had talked about, whom I did not support when she ran, but I support her now because I've seen her do her job. I seen her rise above her emotions. I seen her do that. I tell you, it's another white Republican that I've seen do that. Raymond Newell. You know I supported Craig Houston every time he ran for office, except this time I do not support Craig Houston. I do not support anyone else that's running for that office. Now, I'm not going to say that Craig Houston is not qualified. I think Craig Houston is qualified. I think that he's more than qualified to be supervisor, be mayor, or any other position that he chose to run. And if he's elected, he would do a good job. I say that because I've listened to him. I had privilege to hear him talk about policies and procedures dealing with everybody's job. I'm talking about from the state auditor to the mayor, the supervisor, the clerk, everybody. I've seen them talk about their job and the duties of their job and what it is that they do. You know about all these things that the guy that's running against Wayman Newell, he would have to learn those things because, in my opinion, he don't know those things. Wayman Newell knows. He's already seasoned. And what I like about Raymond Newell is he's not He's not ashamed to come up and shake your hand. If you invite him to your program, he's going to come to your program, and he's going to be supportive of that program, and he's going to be respectful. I can say the same thing about the guy that's running for sheriff. KQ, you're gonna help me with his name because you grew up listening at it, but he's the chief deputy for Lauderdale County. But Billy Silent, Ward Calhoun, yeah, Ward Calhoun, that's it. We did you. I read our lips. See, folks. Um, I know how to read lips. I know sign. No, I don't. I read her lips. But anyway, thank you. But I thought I'd point that out to you about the differences, and so I am supporting Raymond Newell, and I'm gonna do all I can for him to keep that job. I think that. Um, if Craig Houston get it, he'll make a good supervisor. I don't think he will because this will be his third time running for. One thing I can say is that he's consistent. He's not all over the board, but I don't think he'll get it. But he might. I just don't think so because if you run for office you don't get it, and you run again and you don't get it, it's increasingly more difficult for him to get basically those same people that voted for him before is going to vote for him again, except for those that have died. Now, my mother voted for him, and she's dead. My brother Wayne voted for him. He's dead. And so that's two votes that he lost. And of course, I no longer live there, and I voted for him. But of course, yes, I have a lot of relatives that still live in District Two, and they will vote for him. Not for him, they will vote for Raymond Newell. And of course, I'm gonna do all I can to help Mr. Newell be reelected. Q, Q, come on in here, girl, and talk to the people, folks. We really have some good news. Q, I ain't gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna let you tell your own story,
You
and
can
you
at
can
least,
fade me out and tell your story.
no, because you can at least help me. Anyways, well, as you all may or may not know, I got my daughter back. I got my daughter back, Melanie Sky, little sports self. It took almost 3 years, but it took almost 3 years, but I finally got her back. And if it wasn't for Lauderdale County DHS, I wouldn't have gotten her back basically. So
And I want to add to that, and the reason why I want to add to that because it believe it or not, it was you, Q. The people that had her daughter, Heather Liverman,
River.
yeah, and her dad was a police officer. You understand? Now let's tie all this stuff in. Me getting charged with domestic violence and all this stuff. They was all behind that, pushing that. Every time I went to court, she had herself up in there and things like that. I don't even understand, but my daughter used to work for the Mississippi Welfare Department. She said when people have a child and they're not related to that child, they get a large sum of money every month, and that money does not count towards income. Plus, they get food stamp for that child and Medicare and that thing. So it was a monetary advantage for her to have that child. But even so, for about the last probably a year or so, they had that actually since October, they've had that child illegally. And
Mm-hmm.
you can imagine having a child, people, and not able to see that child. And Candace is not a bad mother. What happened with Candace is that Candace had her child when she was really young. And so she left her child with her mother, but other
Mm-hmm.
people, family members got involved and got DHS involved. And when DHS got involved, oh man, when Candace married me, she satisfied everything that needed to be satisfied for her to be in compliance. Not only that, then they brought up the charges: child pornography, possession, sending and receiving. They brought that up. So, well, once you get, well, how about all that stuff been cleared up since summer? But they continue to either ignore her or not have anything. People, and I can tell you, and in order to see her child, another family member had to sneak her child to her. And how about all that was illegal? But when the child came and she had a black eye and she had scratches on her, you understand, a 2-year-old. So immediately Candace called Child Protective Services, the 800 number, when a child is being abused or neglected. And so they went out to that home. And that's to begin to get the ball rolling. When they started checking and everything, I knew she hadn't lost custody of the child because too. But I'm the one that when I met her, they had her meet at Francis Stevens' office. This is an attorney in
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi, and she was getting ready to sign the paper, but she brought it out for me to read it. I said, "Oh no, man, you don't sign these. You giving up your rights." And
Right.
so she didn't sign them. And so I drew up a set of papers, and her and Heather Liverette went and notarized those papers.
Right.
Heather kept that paper there and gave it to DHS and was using that paper that I drew up. And hold up now, we tried to file it. Candace tried to file her copy of it.
And the
And
judge,
she did. But the
yeah,
judge
the
said,
judge said he would not sign it. He said
and
he
I,
would not sign
he
that.
said, and that was Judge Charlie Smith. And I'm gonna tell you the reason
Yep.
why he wouldn't sign it. He wouldn't sign it because it was saying temporary custody. And it was still giving her kind of control that she can go there at any time. He said, I'm not
Mhm.
signing this because if I sign something, you giving up your cut, you giving up all your rights to your
Yep.
child, and you want to come before my court again before you can
Yep.
get that child back. I said, well, we
Yep.
ain't doing that. And so unbeknownst to us, all this time she had this paper and using this. How about they even paying for daycare at this place
Mhm.
for this child? And so, like when Candace called her grandmother and said it was Valentine's Day. Am I right? Or
Yeah.
somewhere
Yeah. It was Valentine's Day.
Candace called her grandmother up and asking her where was the baby. And so she obviously called up Heather, and Heather called her back. And so I said, answer the phone, talk to her. And she said, you're not getting Melanie unless you come through me. And she said, well, this is what the state told her. Said, go and get your baby. Said, you have
Mhm.
not lost your, you don't have it in paper. We're not
But
involved with that.
the state told me, Miss Brent, she told me, she said out her own mouth, she said, we don't have no case on you. We never had a case on you. So you could go and get your daughter. And if you have to bring the police, then do so. And that's exactly what I did.
Sure did. And while we were there, before we got there, Heather there getting ready to go into jail because she found out too well. The thing went full circle. While she put me in jail, she ended up going to jail herself and then got charged with disturbing the peace that day. But not
Yep.
only that, folks, the people brought a paper out. They brought a paper out saying we have all the authority. This lady here has custody of this child. And so I said, let me see this paper. By the time Sergeant, I gotta tell y'all about, babe, we gotta talk about Sergeant May. And what's the other name? Sergeant
No,
Deputy
Officer Woods, I
Officer
think.
Wood.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's the greatest. Meridian Police
But
Department has some.
they brought out the paper, that temporary guardianship paper, thinking that they had legal rights, but it didn't. They didn't have no judge signature, no docket number, none of that. So
That's
basically,
right.
so
It was
basically,
it wasn't a legal document, and
right,
it was just a petition to the court that the court had never approved. And
right,
Sergeant May came there. He said, "Lady, this ain't nothing. And if Candace wanted to press kidnapping charges against you and anybody that have a child, she could.
yep,
And how about? But this is what I told him too. But I said, look, I said, now you came out here with this document saying that you have authority to have this child here. I said, now this document have been shown to be a fake, not a legal binding document. What's
right,
your reason for keeping this baby now?
right.
And how about it? It wasn't long for CPS got on that phone. What did they say?
They said give her a baby. Sergeant
And
May was
that's
on the
what.
phone with
And,
CPS, and they told,
and KQ, I got to ask you this: are you going to sue them?
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Are you going to sue the daycare too?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay. And guess
because they held my
they was
child.
illegally holding your child,
Right,
and when
that
you went there
right.
for your child, they didn't
And
give it to you.
I told them to their face. I said, if I don't get my baby, I will be pressing kidnapping charges against you and Heather Viverette. I
And,
told them that to their face.
and I gotta say this to you out there, people. Because you have a business, that doesn't mean that you're smart enough to know the law.
Right,
There's no way that a daycare should have been keeping, nobody is allowed to keep your child from you. This
right.
daycare kept the child from her even after they found out the paper went. But you know what it was too, Bill? They didn't want to give up that money, whatever the state paying every week.
Mhm.
Like, if you underprivileged or something like that, the state will pay so much and they was getting that money, but either so they gonna pay for that. Because I bet you the next time somebody bring a documentation there, they're gonna make sure, folks, when you have something and you're using it for a legal document, it has to be signed by both parties. But
Mhm.
for us giving up custody here and what they call removal of disability or removal of minority when a child want to become an adult and won't want to be 16 years. A judge has to sign those things. Anything
Mm-hmm.
dealing with custody, anything dealing with guardianship, a judge has to sign those things. Anytime, anything that's going to cause you to lose your rights, a judge has to be over that or after that. It
Right.
has to be. That's the only thing. But even at her stage where it was a petition, she can pull a petition at any time prior to the judge sergeant
And
major.
that's exactly what Sergeant May told her. He looked at that paper just like this. Then he looked at that lady like, "Are you serious?"
So folks, I tell you what, Sergeant Major, y'all look at him and judge him because he is sharp and he's getting ready to retire. And he's I don't know, I just know from the times that I have dealt with Sergeant May, and it's been more than on one occasion. He's always been very respectful, very knowledgeable, and very professional. He did a
Hmm.
very good job that day. And Officer Woods, we need more officers like him. If you want to take, you take Gomer Powell, you take Andy
Andy
Griffith,
Griffin.
and you take Goober, you wrap them all up in one. And that's Officer Woods. I'm talking about
Yep.
just down home, best personality. Gonna do his job. That's Andy Griffin. But just fun, just like Goober and all them on there. I'm talking about he's just, and we had to tell you guys that Meridian does have some very good officers. And the fact that Officer Woods was only there 2 years was a testament to Deborah Young. Chief
And
Young, she hired him.
he was also partners with Officer
Yeah.
Croom. So
Officer Kroom, and these guys come from the same area. I like to
yeah.
tell the Meridian Police Department, y'all need to find out where these guys come from because Officer
Mhm.
Kroom was a very good, and that was his partner. And they
Right.
both worked in North Mississippi together and came down together. So I suggest y'all go back to North Mississippi and get some good officers. You got to get rid of the Ben Ivies and the Rochester Andersons and Fireplace. You don't need these officers because if you understand, how about just get people like Sergeant May and Officer Woods to
Right.
train people on how to conduct yourself in public. And there was a lady officer there too,
I
and
forgot
she
her. I
man,
forgot
but
her
she did a
name.
good job. But the
She
one thing that she was wrong on,
with
she
that
looked at
legal
that
document.
document and
Yeah,
said it
that's
was a legal document, and it wasn't.
right.
The first thing she should have looked at is saw that it didn't have a judge signature. Too bad it didn't even have a case number.
Or a
No case
docket
number,
number.
no docket number. It didn't
She
have
was
nothing.
nice. She
Hey,
was she
hey, I told him, I said, I can go to my computer and print as many as you want. I'm the one
sure
doing
did.
that up there in the
Yeah,
back.
she was nice, but that
She
she
did
was
not
wrong
know
with
her
that legal
law, and they were
document.
wrong. They was about to allow for them to keep that child with a document that went, and the lady that owned the place is so far removed from the law and what's right till it's
Right.
pathetic. And having a daycare and having new buildings does not mean that you know the law. And
Hmm.
she was wrong. And Q, like you said, you gonna sue, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm
And then,
definitely
yeah,
stupid.
need to because so that she at least we require for her to get the proper training so that another document come like that again, they won't be and somebody come for their baby, you give it to them. Give
Right.
it to them. Don't
So
get in. Go ahead.
moral of that story is you gotta like more. It's two morals to that story. You can't for one you can't have your baby. You can't trust people. Period.
Yeah.
And two, you just can't have your child around any and everybody. And three, I mean, people just they just evil. They portray to be this good Christian church going person, but in reality, they really evil.
Yeah, and I gotta say this is something wrong with Heather. Heather was
Yeah,
trying to keep your child from you.
right.
And then folks, she worked for Meridian Public School. This person been charged with what she was charged with
She
disturbing the
was
peace
charged
and
disturbing the
sending
peace,
threatening phone through the telephone or whatever.
cyberbullying,
Bullet.
something like
And
that.
so Meridian Public School, you need to know about Heather Liverette or Viverette, whatever.
Viverette, Heather
Yeah.
Viverette.
Yeah, you need to know about her. You need to look at her. If she need found guilty, y'all need to get rid of her because she
Hmm.
was shown all in this business over here. So we're gonna be all in hers now.
Trust me, I can pull all that up, and yeah, but yeah,
Yeah. Folks, I just gotta ask you this, people. One of the things that I want to talk about, Q, did you put a name on this type podcast? How about somebody tell me why? Just tell me why. Why is that we're the ones that have to be political correct? Do you know, folks, is that Percy Bland was an atrocious mayor. He was. He was one of the worst mayors that the city of Meridian ever had, that during my knowledge of Meridian having mayors. But one of the things that he did do is that he hired more black people. He brought a lot of black people to the board, doing things that they never done before. He did do that. So that's the only thing that he did, but he abused his authority. He micromanaged everyone. And we don't never, ever need anyone like that again. And folks, I can tell you that we've been slaves. We've been slaves for over 500 years. Yes, I said over 500 years. See, people talking about we was enslaved for 400 years, and you forget about the 100 and some years that's after that. Well, you know, we slaves allegedly freed in 1865. No, we were not free. They just got a new way of doing things. They take and they get um, you know, the type of Negroes that get in a position say, why can't we all get along? Or the kind of Negroes that want to have a peppered administration, because when we get a black person, now we gotta hire some white folks, even though they're not qualified. I can point out this, and I gotta say this about our current mayor. I appreciate some of the things that he done, but one of the things that he did that I just don't agree with is that you have some very qualified black people that subordinate to white folks that are not as qualified as them. And Craig Hitt is one of them. He's the community development director, and you got Stephen Red up under here who has a PhD in that, and he's been doing that as long as or longer than Craig Hitt. But he's a black man, and he's not Jimmy Smith friends. We got to get away from that friendly bullshit. We got to get away from these things where we hiring people because they're black or they're white, or because they're their friend, or because we're beholden to them some kind of way. Then stop being mad at me because somebody else is mad at me. If you know, I'm gonna say this to anyone that's mad at me. If you mad at me, then judge me or be angry at me for something I did, not because somebody else don't like me and you want to be political correct and you want to stand by that person and be that person's friend. So then you gonna say, oh, okay, well, I'll see what I can do to hurt him. We gotta get away from that. MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't agree with her on separating. When you're talking about sedition, you're talking about, again, that's borderline. When you start talking about let's have red states and blue states, what she talking about, let's have white folks and let's have black folks. I don't care, really. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't matter to me if you want to take all the white folks and put them in one place, and then you take all the black folks and put them in another place. I don't care. You can call it upper United States and lower United States. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But as long as you treat us fairly, before it's treating us the same, it ain't never about treating same. It ain't about never about equality and equal treatment. It's about fairness and fair treatment. I don't care about no damn equality. If you treat me fair, then equality itself will work itself out. They don't blind us with equality. Don't blind us all things being equal. They're not equal. How about all things being fair? If they're fair, then you're gonna treat this one just like you treat that one. You're gonna give to this one what you gave to that one. Don't let them trick you with these clever concepts, these words about equality, because it's not there. It's not there at all. Folks, there's some other things that I want to talk about, but I got to talk about this. First of all, I want to say this is that I want to invite you guys Saturday. Terry Rodgers II is going to do an announcement in Lauderdale County on the Meridian City Hall lawn, 2:30 Saturday. So y'all come out and hear this young man speak. You will be amazed. Come out. He's a young man. He's only 18 years old. He's still in high school. I'm talking about that in itself speaks for itself. It speaks to his understanding, his knowledge, his lack of fear. He ain't nothing like me now. I'm a radical, damn it. Y'all vote me and put me in there. Damn it, the first damn day, y'all gonna say, and some of y'all gonna love me just like Donald Trump. I'm gonna be Eddie Trump. I'm gonna be Eddie Holt, but I'm gonna have a lot of Trump ways. Some of y'all ain't gonna like me. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. I'm gonna get me a few political correct token white folks to have working for me, just like Donald Trump. I know what Two Bell saying. Donald Trump must be your hero. Yes, he is. He's one of my heroes. No, I did not vote for him. I didn't know. I couldn't. My hand wouldn't allow for me to do that. Maybe because of my age, but you know what? If I had to vote between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, I'll vote for Donald Trump. And I ain't just saying that. I say that because, again, when you start looking at all the problems that we've had, and it was, now I understand uh, Todd Kemp standing behind being Ivy. That's a white man. That's a white Republican. I understand that, but I don't understand that when a black administration do that, and when you have a black chief of police, I don't understand that. But how about let's take black and white out of it? How about when you break the law? How about when you break the law? It took a while, but eventually that law prevailed for both me, for Lolo, and for KQ. And you can imagine, man, like it was traumatic. It was traumatic for her. It was traumatic for Lo. Lo is a strong black woman and she's tough and she ain't no joke. When you go at her, whether physically or mentally, you better be ready because she's strong and she's not gonna lay down and go away quiet into the night. But even so, she lamented having that over her head, such an atrocious charge. And Percy Bland did that. Nobody has ever done anything like that to me. And I'm not going to allow for him to get away with it. Yes, I'm going to file a lawsuit. I'm working on that now. I do so many things to help people. But again, I want to invite you guys Saturday. Matter of fact, Terry Rodgers want to invite you. He's running Commission of Agriculture. I think that's the position that he's running for. And he's only 18 years old. So you can imagine how excited you guys should be, and it's a winnable position. It's a winnable position if you guys go and vote. Somebody had the nerve to say, "Oh, he's too young." Well, Western Lindemann was one of the best city council person that the city of Meridian had. He was knowledgeable. He was sharp. He was astute. But you guys did not vote for him because he was white and he was young. Wrong reasons not to vote for anyone because they're white. Why you shouldn't vote for them because they're black or anything like that. We got to get those variables out of there. Got to get these colors out of there. Get the physical characteristics out. Let's deal with qualifications. How about the most qualified person? Q, I need you to come in and talk for a minute and talk to the people and just um, tell them some things while I go over my notes.
Oh, I ain't really got nothing to talk about.
You better talk about Maylana. Bring Maylana there and let them
Come
see.
here, Melanie.
Let
Come
'em
here.
see.
You gonna say hey? Come here. Don't you try to act all shy now. Come here. Oh, you gonna say hey? Say hey. Say hey.
Y'all are so pretty.
You gonna say
Thing
hey?
one and thing two.
You gonna speak? Say hey.
Freaking Pratt.
Say
Y'all
hey.
look like twins. Maylana, you ain't gonna say hi? Say hey. Oh, she's back. Okay, then. Anyway, people, I want to tell you about our program. We had a program at the Greater Mount Hermon Church. It was very successful, and I can tell you this is that I invited I invited Lo. Lo forgot to come. I didn't remind her, but I voted her, and she got on me, but I didn't. I think the timing or something happened. I invited Wayman Newell, and Wayman Newell came there. I invited Terry Rodgers, and Terry Rodgers came to Mount Hermon, and I can tell you that they had a good time. And I met Terry Rodgers' mother, and I can tell you that she's a proud black woman. It's always good to see proud black mothers. And of course, I can just say I haven't met many black women that were not proud, and I have not met many that was not strong. I promise you, the strength in the black community comes from the female and not from the male. I want to talk about. I had to help a young lady. People, the lawyers. Some of them get angry at me. Maybe some of the judges get angry at me because I'm able to read and understand the law, and I'm able to read and understand it. And I had to help a young lady out by the name of Shaquita Cherry. That's Lolo's niece. I hope she don't mind me talking about this. She signed a lease, folks, with Sam Merriweather, Reverend Merriweather, um, August the 1st of 2022, last year. She signed it for 1 year in his handwriting. He signed it in his paperwork where he signed it and approved it. And so he did eviction, a notice to evict. He filed a lawsuit her in Lauderdale County Justice Court to evict her. Reverend Mayweather did that. He put on the paper a lie. He said that he gave her a 30-day notice to leave. He was not renewing her lease, and that her renewal date was January 1st, 2023. Now that's a lie, folks. That's months early. That's like 5 months early. Matter of fact, it's almost 8 months early. So he, for whatever reason that he want to terminate her lease early, went before Judge Andre Harris's courtroom. Now I gotta say this is that I invited Judge Harris to the program because we want to give everybody the opportunity to come and have the opportunity to meet the congregation and talk to the people. I also invited Andre Harris Jr. Yeah, he's like a teddy bear. He's really nice, but neither one of them responded to the text. I never, I've I've always respected Junior. At one time, I was running. I don't think that Judge Harris is the most qualified person for that position. I'm gonna just tell y'all, folks, and I ain't saying this because he didn't come to my program. I have a lot of respect for John Harrison, so I don't want to antagonize his family. But I gotta call it like I see it, and the reason why I gotta call it like I see it is because, well, let's go back to Miss Cherry in Judge Harris' courtroom. She came in and she showed him. Sam Merriweather was in there, and she was not in arrears with her rent. She paid the rent. She don't pay the rent. She was never behind. She didn't owe any money. And so the only way you can evict somebody is that if he gave a 30 days notice, then you got to be with the understand a lease is a binding contract. That's an agreement between two people. Merriweather admitted in court that he signed this lease. And but he said he just didn't want her there. Do you know that Judge Harris said that she still had to be out in 72 hours? See, now that's the reason I see that's not a people's judge. Do you understand, Judge Harris, that you are elected by the people, not by your best friend, not by your reverends in crime. If I say crime, not by your reverends in arms or your brothers or reverends or whatever you call yourself or your reverend group or whoever, if you're a preacher. But even so, Judge, even if that was your best friend, if that was your brother, a judge supposed to be an impartial arbiter who rises himself above his emotions and apply that law. A contract cannot be breached unless there's a reason for it to be breached, meaning she had not been making a payment, destroying the bid. None of that happened. But Judge ruled against her. And folks, that is the reason why you all need to get out and vote. You got to vote. It's the people's court. It's for the people. It's not for the administration. You can't say things like you can't bring no cell phone in here and use it for evidence. You can't come in there and say if you're going to be evicted, you got to go. You can't come in a courtroom and establish how you convict them before the people get up to state the argument. If a person have evidence, Judge Harris, you got to let them show it. I don't care what it's on. If it's on toilet paper, you got to let them see it. But I'm going to tell you folks that anytime you get an arbitrary ruling from Judge Harris or any other judge in Justice Court, and by the way, none of them has to have a college degree and they don't have to be a lawyer. It's the only state in Mississippi and one other state, I think Arizona, where you don't have to have a law degree or a college degree in order to be a judge. All you got to be is high school education. Now, folks, now you graduate from high school today. Now, you know what a college graduate knew 20 years ago. But if you graduate from high school in the 70s, you got about a fifth or sixth grade education. Now, I graduated back then, but of course, I continue to educate myself. So my point of it is that it's still a people's job. People, y'all got to get out and vote. I want to know about you to get these adverse rulings. Have you been voting? Then you need to get behind somebody now to get them rascals up out of there. It's voted in. You give them that job and they take you in there. They don't show. Oh, I got to tell you guys that a judiciary performance complaint. Cure, if you can, I want you to pull up maybe that number or that website for judiciary performance complaint and put it up there for the people. But it's Judiciary Performance Commission. The state of Mississippi have it. Every state has it. And anytime you want to file a complaint against a judge, file complaints against Judge Harris or any other judge up there that's doing not following the law. File a complaint against them if they be disrespectful to you in their courtroom. They can be disrobed. And some judges have went to prison, even in the state of Mississippi. As corrupt as it is. Folks, we gonna read the comments here. Q, did you pull those things up? Q, I don't know what you doing down there. Did you?
I had to fix me something to eat, but you can file a complaint. You can file a complaint online, or you could download the form.
By dialing.
You gotta go to the website. The website is judicialperformance.ms.gov/filing complaint.
Oh, you can
and I'll put that in the comments and on the page.
Yeah, so that you can see that. So file a complaint. Don't just accept what they do to you. Man, strike back. Start fighting these rascals. If you start fighting them and start getting some of them kicked out, and they gonna leave you alone then. And then you got an opportunity now to get rid of Judge Harris or any other judge that's not doing good. Judge Harris had Loretta Allen Bennett running against her. Y'all can get behind her. Now you know she kind of rough around the edges, but she'll be fair and she gonna apply the law. And that's what you want. Ain't nobody gonna come in a courtroom and get no special treatment. I don't care who you are. Dennis Ray, her brother, he ain't get no special treatment. Ed Holt ain't gonna get no special treatment. He coming in wrong, he going to jail. But me and Lo, none of us want to go to jail for something we hadn't done. None of us we don't want to go to court with a contract and then go in the courtroom and the judge tell us it's not right. Q, you ready to read those comments?
I'm ready.
How you gonna eat on the job?
I got hungry. I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. My mama and your mother-in-law said good evening. And good evening. Cherry Rodgers said good evening. Remember to vote Rodgers for Commissioner of Agriculture and Commerce. This election,
Agriculture and Commerce.
Yeah, Commerce. This election won't just send shockwaves for 2023, but maybe all the way up to 21-23. All interested to come see us Saturday. Hashtag Rodgers for Mississippi. Then he said, it was also great to see Mississippians gathered together within the church praising God with no drama. As always, hashtag Rodgers for Mississippi. Then he said, prayers also to Jimmy Carter and his family. Then Araya said, I've got to say, my little sister is very smart, pretty, look just like her mama, and bossy sometimes, but she still minds. And a fellow podcaster, Corner Clubhouse Cobalt said the wave. I just looked them up, and they're a fellow podcaster. There's someone who also does podcasts on YouTube, so.
Yeah, and that's good. And Terry Rodgers did not tell y'all Saturday, but Saturday's the 25th, and it's at 2:30 at the City Hall lawn. Anything you want to say to the people before we close out? We're gonna close out.
Like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody. So we can keep having more podcasters and more people like the one that just come in and watch us.
And one of the things that I want to say too, before we close out is that we can get along, I mean, we had such a good time in church Sunday, and I can tell you we had a really, really, really good time. One of the things I want to say about Marjorie Taylor Greene is that sometimes she talk outside her head. But one of the things that she did say that was correct, and that is that on President Day, our president was over in the Ukraine, and quoting somebody saying kissing somebody's behind over there, kissing his ass over there, as opposed to being in East Palestine talking to this East Palestine, Ohio, had a toxic train derailment there earlier this month. And of course, it's been all kind of people coming there, but I don't understand that, folks. But you understand that the U.S. is fighting a proxy war in the Ukraine. A proxy war is when you actually the one that's fighting, but you got somebody else. It's like throwing a rock or hide in your hand, and that's what they're doing. They're testing their strength, folks. This can lead to World War III. If I was the president over there, why you don't want me to be the damn president? Because I bomb every damn every. I blow Poland out the fuck off the map. I'm just telling you the truth. And the reason why I would, because most of this stuff is coming through Poland. You're not gonna come through somebody else's yard to come into my yard and kill my folks and kill my family. When you coming through somebody else's yard and they allow for you to come through there, that person is liable also. So Russia has every right to strike Poland or the UK. I mean, you're gonna send weapons from and that's what they're really trying to do. And it ain't to benefit you people, it's to benefit that military reserve army, that military complex, that military industrial complex. That's what it's called. The people that make all those weapons to fight, and of course that's how they get their money back. And we got to get. It's gonna be hard to get away from that. We're gonna have to get a new. We're gonna have to have a new paradigm, a new way of thinking. We're gonna have to get some new people in there. There's no way that we should be all the way over there fighting a war that has. There's no way that we can benefit from it. All the things that's going on in America with the train derailment, and we spending billions of dollars in a country to support a regime that does not support us. But anyway, people, I want to thank you for watching, listening, and make sure you subscribe. We signing off, and I want to say this to Tool Belt, Two Belt song, Sunday, folks. Y'all got to go and look at that. Y'all have a good day.